So it looks like going into September, the Nvidia RTX 3000 series supply could actually get worse. I'm going to tell you numerous things that are happening against good stock. Let's get started. Hey guys, Tiago with Classical Technology here. So let's talk about the topic of the year pretty much, and that's the supply of GPUs, specifically the Nvidia RTX 3000. Now, we've gone through a roller coaster of emotion as well as pricing and availability. Sometimes it follows the prices and cryptocurrency and things like that. Sometimes it just seems to come out of nowhere, really, if it goes up or down. Seems to be very sporadic, but there always is a reason that things are happening. So it looks like that in September, this coming month now, the supply of the RTX 3000 series is going to be once again severely constrained, even compared to what it was before. Sometimes you think the supply is really bad because you can't find a GPU, but trust me, it can still get worse. So let's talk about a few factors that are going to contribute to this constraint in supply. Now, the number one thing is, apparently, according to some websites like video cards, there is an outbreak going on in the manufacturing centers of these GPUs, and at first they said it looks like the RTX 3060 Ti were going to be one of the most heavily affected GPUs, production dropping by as much as 50%, but upon further review and study of what's going on, it looks like even more GPUs will be affected, pretty much the entire Nvidia Ampere lineup. Now, this certainly is very interesting, and we could always point to the 3060 and 3060 Ti as being the more mass-produced GPUs, just because they come at a lower price point. The little bit of sort of like an anecdotal experience that I have with this, in recent huge drops, or at least huge in terms of having GPUs available, like Best Buy, the GPUs that they tend to have the most of and that people will actually buy first are the RTX 3060 Ti. Figure if you're a gamer, the price to performance, especially for the Founders Edition, is really, really good, under $400. If you get it at that original, very sweet MSRP, as the Founders Edition are known to have, the ones that Best Buy sell. And even in terms of crypto mining, GPUs like the 3060 have workarounds like beta drivers, and even the light hash rate versions of these GPUs have been able to do more and more than they initially were. So having said that, it's obvious if there's 100 people in line, a lot of those people will go for 3060s and 3060 Ti's, and usually the last few GPUs left, it's something like the 3090. Of course, the 3090 is a monster GPU, but it also comes with a monster price, so people don't really want that as a first choice. Then you'll have, of course, your 3070s and your 3080s, etc. So having said that, it makes sense that the 3060 and 3060 Ti will be the ones that are most felt in terms of actual results on the street as we go through September and October. Hopefully, availability after this period will improve, but this has been something very difficult to predict. Sometimes you think things are going to get better, and something happens even on the manufacturing side or the cryptocurrency side that it really makes it very difficult to get your hands on these GPUs. So that's going to be the primary reason for this particular shortage, at least the first reason. It's just going to be outbreaks and things like that, which typically have been happening throughout the year, even less than we've had recently. And I know what you're saying, it's difficult to find a GPU, but recently they have been getting restocked. It's not like the shelves have been empty for months. They just sell out immediately and in fairly low numbers. So this shows probably a 50% decrease to what we've been getting previously, putting us in another bad situation. Earlier on in 2021, there were periods where the shelves were absolutely empty on a store like Micro Center, not even to mention Best Buy, and online where most people will have access, like Amazon and Newegg, were pretty much bare, and even the scalper secondhand GPUs were very difficult to find, even at the inflated prices. They went down to really a couple of handful compared to really having a good supply on the secondhand market, albeit still very expensive. They were available after sort of that May Ethereum price spike, and going into June, July, August, availability was certainly better in terms of comparing it to the earlier points in 2021. So it looks like in this last quarter here, we may certainly go into another sort of really bare state, not having any GPUs at all, depending on how bad the shortage is. So the second reason that a shortage is really, really likely, aside from manufacturing issues, now we're combining many factors to sort of come together in the worst situation. most likely is going to be sort of cryptocurrency mining still being very, very popular, very profitable. So that's certainly going to come together with these GPUs. Something else that if it does happen will mean even a worse crisis for GPUs at the end of the year. It seems like the light hash rate GPUs, little by little with things like NB Miner, they've been unlocking more and more performance instead of just 50% light hash rate. These GPUs are supposed to really limit Ethereum coming directly from Nvidia. Now it's around 70%, and there are reports that pretty soon it may go up to 85%, and even with some tweaks, they may even get it up to pretty close to full operating potential. And if that happens in sort of an easy to use way, in a very widespread sort of format, you can bet that these LHR GPUs are going to sell out just as fast as the other GPUs. The only ones that people have been able to find recently have been things like the 3080 Ti and the 3070 Ti. Certainly, they're still difficult to get, but you can catch them in stock here and there. They haven't been as elusive as the original 3080 and the 3070. Those have been a lot more difficult to get. So unlocking more performance is going to mean a whole new segment that we're kind of ignoring these GPUs, the crypto miners. I mean, they still buy them, but it's their last choice. They prefer to get something that has the full power, but they're still going to pick up a couple. Now, if it's unlocked, they're going to go after these GPUs with the same intensity as they did with the 3080s and 3070s. So that's going to be something else to watch how crypto does. Crypto is really generally sort of the icing on the cake, the last piece that really predicts how bad it's going to be out in the market, in the street. If a lot of people are buying it for games and crypto, you can bet that these prices are going to be insanely high, and you're generally not going to be able to even find the GPU even with high prices. And now a third reason that September and the next few months may be very, very tough. Typically, as you get towards the holiday season, the months preceding it, they do like to build up the inventory so that way they actually have enough when people start to do that holiday shopping. Therefore, getting their GPUs, and there's no point in even making GPUs if people can't buy them at all, especially in a very, very busy holiday season where this is still going to be one of the number one items that people are looking for if they're building a computer. So it would make some sense on the manufacturer side, on sort of the companies like Nvidia and AMD. They're going to want to hold back possibly some of these GPUs just to make sure that when people really start buying them at a much higher rate for the holiday specifically, that they at least have enough on hand and enough in stock that it looks like they at least put in effort. And when they have their holiday sales numbers, at least they have something a little more concrete to be able to show investors and all of the shareholders. Because imagine if they're selling all their GPUs and you get a big rush during the holiday season and they have very few or nothing to sell, that's not going to look very good, because even in moments where things are different, people still compare like this year to last year to the previous year. A lot of times sort of the shareholders and investors, they're not going to be as connected as we, the gamers and enthusiasts, are with what has been going on. They know sort of basically that there's a GPU shortage, but they don't know exactly sort of the details. How hard is it actually out there on the market to get a GPU? A lot of gamers that have been trying for weeks to get one GPU or maybe upgrade, they know exactly how difficult it is. So all of these items sort of point to maybe a little bit shaky end of year. Now, if the manufacturing issues weren't sort of in play and crypto stayed a little bit more stable, I think the last problem with the holidays coming up, that would sort of fix itself. But we do have these potential issues showing that the next few months are going to be pretty tricky to get a GPU. So it's possible this last drop at Best Buy, at least in the US, was one of the last great drops that we may even see this year until at least the holiday season. Who knows about next year? I mean, the Nvidia CEO has also said that 2022 will prove to be very, very tough for GPU supply. He said he sees the constraints go on pretty much all year, which I guess for Nvidia is probably good news, because they're pretty much selling everything that they manufacture, and keeping sort of that demand up and keeping the mystique of GPUs up certainly plays in the favor of the Nvidia corporation. Now, if you have a product that launched literally like last year, and look at what happened at Best Buy, people still line up across the block to get it, just as if it was a really, really hot product. I mean, that shows you how much it's good for Nvidia and even AMD, even though you could argue that the majority of those people are scalpers, but they're there because even if they're going to scalp it, they're going to sell it to a gamer or to a crypto miner who will even pay a higher price than those people are paying waiting in line. So that shows you that not only is the demand there, but also people will pay more than these GPUs are actually worth, at least with MSRP. So you can bet that the corporations are looking at this, and the next generation of GPUs will be priced accordingly. And even new models that have been released, especially third-party AIB models, have been across the board more expensive than you would expect. You could take a look at the 3080 Ti. Certainly the third-party models are considerably expensive. Some of them are close to $2,000. And AMD has the 6600 XT, which is priced close to $400. Both of these GPUs, one being a little bit lower end, the other one higher end, but they're still priced considerably higher than we would have expected in a normal market by a pretty significant percentage. So hopefully all of these continued manufacturing and GPU availability problems sort of sort themselves out a little bit better next year, or else unfortunately we're just looking at harder and harder to get GPUs and raising prices across the board, even for low-end models, not to mention the high-end models, which will probably have even more of a price increase. All right, guys, so let me know what you think. What do you think the end of the year is going to look like, especially the next month, September? Hopefully the manufacturing delays aren't as bad as they've been saying. Remember to subscribe if you like content like this, smash the like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.